Alright, so we got the rest of the parts back from the Integra. Of course, that is the ITR spoiler that was on the car, and then the filler piece that goes in the back between the hatch and the bumper. We are missing this between here and there. This disappeared, we lost it. Good news is you can still order it, so that will be here tomorrow. Side skirts, back bumper, look how beautiful that is. And you remember we talked about this, and there's a couple of people actually responded and agreed how much they like it, and actually a couple of people said, you know what, I like it so much I'm gonna copy it, which you are welcome. Front bumper. So that's it. I'm putting the air conditioner on. It's 94 in here, and 94 doesn't sound that hot, but in Florida it is humid as all. So I'm going to work on the charge piping for this car. Now, typically we do our charge piping out of aluminum. It cools down pretty quick. It basically transfers heat very fast like an intercooler. But this is kind of our special build, so we're going to do it a little bit different. We're going to do something really sweet. Yep, we're using our friends from Titanium. We ordered a bunch of titanium. Check these guys out. These guys make life easy. They give you everything you need. You can order your titanium pie cuts, which means it's already cut, it's already ready to go. It's easy. You just tack it together. You've got bends to sell, nice tubes. They're ready to go. This is 2.5 inch. We have 2.5 inch and 3 inch here. We have more than we need for this car. And then there's a few extra little pieces in here I'll talk about as we do it, but this is going to be a special build, so why not use special material? Okay, so the way I'm going to do it on this car, the way we're planning on doing it, I'm not going by any special formula. I don't have a computer to gauge all this stuff. I'm going by actual hands-on experience, meaning I've actually done it, actually seen it, I actually know it works. The pipe in the outlet of the turbo is 2 inch, so to go from 2 inch up to 3 inch, there's no real flow difference, there's no velocity there. I don't want to do it 2 inch because my intercooler is 2.5 inch. So my plan here is to come out of the turbo, go right to 2.5 inch. It's going to be titanium. We're going to come around here. We're going to try and do this pipe in one go. It's going to be pie cuts, so it's going to be nice and fancy. We're going to come out of the intercooler in 2.5 and then step up to 3. We're going to come through this hole here, plenty of room. We're going to come up for 3 into here. The throttle body inlet is 3, and a lot of it, to be honest, it's just for aesthetics. Rather than a little skinny pipe down here, which will support 500 horsepower, I'm doing it for looks. 3 inch looks better. It doesn't look like a teeny tiny pipe. It looks more substantial, it looks better. And then of course the intake is going to come up through here. The filter is going to be over here somewhere. It's going to be 3 inch. I want to start this direction here, come around here, shoot through that hole, keep this pipe low so we have room to come up over it. I'm going to show you as I go, and hopefully you'll follow along. Okay, so the pie cuts actually make it easier because when you're trying to degree a bend, let's say you need a 45-degree bend, well, you take either a 45-degree bend or a 90 and you cut it in half. But if you need something in between that, like a 60-degree, you have to take your bend and kind of estimate the 60-degree, cut it, put it in, you know, eyeball it, see if it's going to work. With the pie cuts, it's like Lego. It really is. I can't tell you how much easier this is. You basically take as many bends, you keep stacking them together until you get the bend that you want. If it's too much, you take one off. You can hold it straight on there and see where it's pointing and find out if you need more or less. Then of course you just keep stacking them for more bend. What I typically do is hold so many together and get it kind of close where I want it, tack them together so I'm not trying to juggle 14 pieces, put it in the hole, and then kind of eyeball it. I do it the old school way. I like to eyeball it because then I can get a visual of how I want it to look and see if it's looking the way I want it. Alright, so I don't know if I've mentioned this before. This machine is super old. It's what we use our for our bead rolling. It's actually a machine that'll do several different things. It'll swedge and it'll roll. Well, my dad was given this when he very first started work, and I think he told me he was like 18. And the guy before him was retiring and gave him this machine. Now my dad's over 80 years old, so when he retired he gave it to me, and I kept it for the longest time before I did any of this kind of work. I didn't really need to use it and I didn't do anything with it. Well, we put these ends on it, and it's the tool we use today to put beads on our pipe. And there is electric versions, there is things that you just stick it in there and press a button and it does it for you. But there's something about this machine, is of course nostalgic. My dad used it all of his life. He was a sheet metal worker, welder, and engineer, so he did all kinds of things, and he told me some of the things that he used this for. So it's kind of special to keep. Alright, so while we're going down memory lane, I just figured I'd show you this. I showed it once on another video, but I bought my dad this when I was 7 years old, and I remember I paid a lot of money for it, and I didn't really know what it was, but I'd seen him use one once before, and I was on vacation somewhere, like a seaside town. This was in England when I was young, and I saw this, and I used all my money to buy this, and I gave it to him, and he kept it ever since. And then same thing, when he retired he gave it to me, so it's got a lot of memories behind this. So this is a tool here for taking out the raw edge. You just run this around. Again, it's just amazing. I bought this when I was 7 years old. Alright, so here's our little grommet that I ordered. This is one of those things that if you don't put it on now, it won't go on, because trying to get this in there and work around that lock, as you see I still can't get it on. I'm doing it one-handed. But the lock goes through there. There it goes. Look at that. But yeah, you see the lock actually protrudes through here, kind of like this, and getting that on there is going to be next to impossible. Okay, so now we've got this pipe up here and the piece pointing down. It's going to a 2.5. We're going to come from the intercooler, wrap around and make a 90 up. So I've already made my piece right here. I put a bead on it and I put enough for my silicone connector and a clamp, and then I'm starting to make my transition. Look for those intercoolers where people just make a completely straight and then a 90. It looks awful because the bumper is curving. Your pipe needs to curve. This shape right here, you need to follow this shape and stay inside of it. If not, it's going to run into your bumper. You're going to cut a slot in the bumper. You're going to see a piece of pipe. It's awful. So I've been doing this for years, and I keep trying to tell people, look for this, try and do this, come out the intercooler, bend right away. Don't go straight, make a bend over here. So I want to see if one bend is enough. I might have to put 2 pies to get my pipe where it needs to be. Let me get it straight and I'll eyeball it and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. One side of the intercooler piping done. This obviously is throttle body. Down to here is submerged down to 2.5, which attaches to this right here. Actually sits about like this. So it's all tacked together, and we're gonna clean it and glue it and weld it, make it look pretty. So that side is done, and it's time to work on the other side. All right, so the other pipe is made. This is the driver's side. This is obviously the turbo, and it kicks around here, goes around. Here's the intercooler. Again, you see how that 45, it's not actually a 45, but this bend is going to come right out of the intercooler. It's going to sit about like here in the car. But again, it tucks around tight. We got the bumper on temporarily just so we could make sure everything fits. Did a little bit of cut in around the intercooler and make sure everything is clear. Nothing has any interference problems. All right, so what do you think of our choice in intercooler piping? Is that not pretty or what? Look at that. They're both sitting here because they're cooling. Don't want to touch them as much as I want to touch it and show you it. I don't want to burn myself, but look at all the colors in there. That's beautiful. And then the upcharge pipe, of course this is the one that you see from the top. You know, look at it this way. It's a shame this one is going to be under the car, but you know what, if you look at it, you're going to certainly see how pretty it is. That is beautiful. And of course the exhaust system, we are using titanium, and it's all supplied by our friends at Ticon. And like I mentioned with the intercooler piping, we're doing it all in pie cuts just because it looks so pretty, and it really sets off the fact that it's titanium. So we showed you in the earlier episode, we have our downpipe to cat. We have stainless cat. This is the high flow Cook's cat. We have our bellows here, and we're running a stainless V-bend flange on this side and a titanium flange on this side. Again, these are available from Ticon. Now here we're going to go right to titanium. You can actually see the color difference right here. This is our titanium. We're going to actually step over here and come into the middle just as the factory system was. You see up here there is a heat shield. We have it perfectly in the heat shield pocket. So here it's going to kick over, just a light jog here and then back straight so it can come right through this middle. These are titanium also. Again, not trying to just keep pushing the whole Ticon thing, but the fact that they have everything, order it all from them, makes your life so much easier. You can buy the hanger material, the right stuff. As you see, it fits in here properly. You see how it grips in there? It's the exact size of the factory stuff. So we're gonna come through here. We're gonna put a muffler, an inline muffler somewhere around here. It's gonna be basically a resonator, but it does the same thing as a muffler, you just call it a resonator. And right around here, we're gonna go to our 90, come around here, and just as you've seen us doing in the past, you see the tank, this is a 45 and a 45, so it makes a 90. So we're gonna do the same thing, come here to a 45, a straight, a 45, and then come back in the direction the way the factory system would go. So all this is gonna get cleaned up. We have the Skunk 2 suspension is gonna be going on there. Skunk 2 sponsored the suspension. We're gonna have the new Pro Cs here. These control arms, I'm not a big fan of the shiny silver and sitting out. We're gonna powder coat these a different color, this too. Take all this apart, refinish it, change all the bolts, make it look pretty, finish all the control arms, make everything look nice, and then wait while you see what we have planned over here with the muffler. This is gonna look pretty special.
With the back purge? Alright, now I got all the bits on that go behind the bumper. It's time to go ahead and put that bumper on.
Alright, so Type R door panel is in. We're just going to put the switches back together. This is where the GSR is going to sit and take a break because we have to get back to our regular work. That titanium stuff is looking so good in there. Alright, so let me start at the beginning. Here's the downpipe. Here's a high flow cat going into a stainless bellow. We have a stainless V-bend with a titanium V-bend on the other side. We go back here, we go to our 17-inch resonator, we do a 90 around the gas tank, and then a 45 and a 45 with a straight between. You see how well that fits the gas tank. Now, we're at this point here. We have another V-bend, which is pretty close to the flange on a factory Integra. We have our hanger up there. So we're up here through the axle here. We've got it high, so this is never going to come in contact. This suspension will never go high enough to hit that. We want to have plenty of room. So let me give you a quick idea of how the muffler is going. The muffler is going here. I did put a teaser picture up on Instagram and it probably looks confusing. But let me go ahead and then show you it and explain. Alright, so now you can get a good look at the muffler, the way we've done it. Obviously it's like a twin loop design, so it's going to go through here, come around, and then out through here. This is a flared up from a 3 to a 3.5. We talked about that, so it fits this opening nicer. And the whole thing is titanium. It's nice and light, and it's basically a double muffler and in a small, cool package. So we'll get it all put together, show you it on the car, and then we'll get some sound clips. See, hopefully it does work. We are trying to reduce the sound, but we're also trying to go for the cool factor. I won't lie, there is a lot of cool factor in our decision making. Again, as you see, it has the braces. It has a brace up there between the two mufflers, and then one for this leg to that muffler, just to make sure there's no vibration or chance of it breaking. But that's the idea, the way we're trying to get it to look. Alright, so these are the ones that we get from Titanium to do the back purging. It was super nice. They got 2.5, 3, 3.5, and 4, so it fits in there super easy. It's got a tab here, so it pulls apart pretty easy. So here it is. This is what it looks like. This is obviously the axle back, and it's V-bend, so we can actually take this apart. One more weld to go. All this is being back purged. This was like the final test fit. It's tacked. It fits on the money. Now we've got to back purge this, which is basically fill it with argon. We want to push the air out of here and saturate it with argon, so that when it welds here, it welds on the inside, makes a much stronger weld. So we have a separate bottle right here. This is the official number.
Turn that one up high just to purge it out.
Yeah, I know. Somebody's going to comment on that. So you turn it high, you can feel the air come out of here, which is obviously the argon going in, pushing the air out. Once it's stabilized, we drop that down, and then we can weld it. Look how good that looks. That looks trick. Okay, so now we're installed. That looks amazing. It fits in that pocket nice. The 3.5-inch tip suits that opening perfect. You can see all the pies, you can see all the colors. And again, it's so light. You pick it up, it's deceiving. You pick it up, it's kind of big. You think it's going to be heavy. It doesn't weigh anything. And here we are, right to the front. So let's put it down on the ground. We'll go ahead and start it up. Let's get a sound clip. Alright, so battery is on. We still don't have our intercooler piping hooked up. This is the blow-off valve. It's just sitting here, so we don't have a vacuum leak. It's sitting in rag there, so it doesn't scratch anything. So let me get a little bit further away so we can get a better sound clip. Alright, George, you ready? That sounds good. Oh, is that the brace that we didn't tighten up? Alright, so the brace for the back of the downpipe just needs to be tightened. We've had this on and off 2 or 3 times. But let's see if we can go around here and burp the throttle. We'll pull that apart, fix that here in a second. It's actually quiet from over here. Okay. Sounds pretty good. It's not too loud at all, is it? Nice. So we essentially have 3 inline mufflers and a cap. So that's it right there. muffler, and then our cat up front right there. Alright, so this is actually a pretty special moment. These I bought in 2004, brand new. And right now George is the first one to actually open them, so I'm hoping it's still as it should be. So these were originally for my yellow Type R. When I did the JDM front, I bought these brand new. I'll show you these. They're pretty special. They really are 15 years old, sitting on the shelf. So George is doing a final trim on the bumper just to make sure it doesn't contact anything. The car is almost ready for the dyno. We're gonna break it in on the dyno. Of course, we've got to break in the clutch first. But as we're breaking in the clutch, we're gonna do the drivability and make sure the air fuel is perfect. We'll put our wideband directly in the downpipe and replace the factory O2. Once it's tuned, of course, you turn the O2 sensor back on. We'll get some good sound clips. I'm excited for the exhaust. I want you to hear it. Hopefully you like it as much as we do. So we'll see what it makes. We're not doing any dyno trickery. We're not trying to build a race car. And as George and I discussed earlier, we have goals for this car, and the goals are to be a reliable street car. It was never meant to be a race car. We're making the car too pretty to be a race car, hence why our goals are only 350-ish. So we'll see how we go, see you on the next video, and hopefully you're enjoying it. I'm John, that's George, there's the Integra.